Hi guys, welcome to another episode of World of Truck, and this is the American version, America Truck Simulator. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about setting up your Xbox One controller, which is something like that, that is for your game. And so previously I've been using a PS3 controller in a Windows 7 environment. Even after I've got a free upgrade to Windows 10, I could still retain my legacy driver, and it was beautiful. A PS3 controller worked out of the box with this game. I don't need to set up anything, it just worked very nicely. But for Xbox One, I found that I need to change a lot of things in order to make it work, and I would like to share the experience with you. But not only that, I would like to share with you how I get there, so that in case you don't really like my setting, you want to do your own, I have some advice for you too. Now, but before you even get there, the first thing first I would like to advise you is that make sure you calibrate your controller. So how do you get there? You just need to go to your taskbar here. You just type controller, then you have a setup USB game controllers, right? So here under property, and there's a tab here called setting. You can calibrate and follow the step. Sometimes you don't really know what they mean by like X, Y, Z, axis, rotate, whatnot. You just keep playing around with the controller until you can see the thing moving quite a fair bit. So just calibrate this one first before you use it, so that this one is dead at the center. For example, when I first bought this controller, I found that the game drift a lot. I couldn't quite control my truck, and I realized that I didn't calibrate nicely. So do that, make sure this is dead in the center, make sure that all this like moving is covering all the corner nicely, all this as well, and all this as well. So make sure all these things are happening, and assuming that you've got it sorted, for your at least calibrate your Xbox One controller, then the next thing I would like to advise you is how do you tune your setup such a way that you enjoy the smooth driving. Okay, so now you've seen you've watched my video before with the PS3 controller, and I prefer the type of driving that's rather smooth. So to test that, you have to go to a garage. Any garage will do. Doesn't matter which one you do. Do a quick travel here. You can get to your garage quick, and you can start the whole driving experience. So what I usually do is inside this garage, I do a save game first, of course. But sometimes you tend to, oh man, this is like, okay. So let me just, so usually I'll be using this thing as the gauge to how well my whole tuning is, and to do that, your wheel shouldn't be moving on its own. Sometimes it does, alright? So make sure it doesn't work that way. And I'll just drive a few rounds here. Don't worry about hitting anything here. The idea is for you to feel the truck and see whether you can control the truck as it is or not, including the braking and all, making sure that it doesn't brake too abruptly. So this is the part where you try to get as fast as possible, and use as much space, like racing like that. And then start to play with the brake. Yeah, and just going back here. And even if you hit the wall, don't worry too much about it. You can always slow back the game. But the idea is really to test the limit of your setup, like how far you can go without hitting anywhere, and so on. Are you comfortable with the whole articulation of where you want to go? Because sometimes you feel that you're struggling and struggling to gain gain some kind of setting, then it is not really for you, right? So that is the whole idea, right? So that is once you come a few rounds, you probably have some idea of what is lacking in terms of your wheel. Is it like is it because the camera move a lot, or you can't really see what's happening, and so on? So now, assuming that you've got some testing here to sort of like know where you are and where the area would like to improve, the next bit is really about how to set up your controller, which I'm here to help you. Now, there are a couple of things you need to pay attention here. All the keys are very much scattered everywhere. The button here, I have my own special set of button. I use all these buttons in some special meaningful way. It's under this tab. The gameplay is important as well, because there are some options that you should select. And control is where you make sure that this thing works with the way that you want. So the first thing first is that I picked keyboard plus controller, Xbox One for Windows. That is the one that I think you should pick as well. The controller subtype though, there are two options, either wheel or gamepad joystick. By default, I think it's default to wheel. It's very, very funny because the wheel turns very fast. And whatever you do, if you pick gamepad, make sure that in the under the gameplay, you would have steering camera rotation, because without that you can't really see where you are turning to. Now, but if you use a wheel option, make sure you don't check this one, because your whole truck will move very fast left and right, so it's very weird. So if you pick the wheel option, don't check this one, but you pick the joystick or gamepad version, you make sure you check this one. Alright, so this is something that I would highly recommend. And also another thing, while I'm on this page, may as well talk a little bit about it, is the brake sensitivity, intensity, because I don't like my truck just abruptly stop in the middle of the road just because I tap a little bit on the gamepad. So I would strongly suggest when you brake, have a brake intensity of the lowest one, because I'm not the type who's so used to jam braking the truck. I like the smooth driving. Alright, so it is more for smooth driving. But let's go back to the controller itself. So I hope you kind of understand which one to pick. Whichever you pick is more your style, but I prefer the gamepad version. The transmission is the one that you can play the manual gearing. I like manual gearing on any racing game, and I like it on this truck version. Because you got a little bit more to play. Because driving truck is rather simple, but having the gears make it a little bit more interesting. What I do the setup though is I use X to gear up and A to gear down, because that is where my thumb nicely rests upon, and it's quite easy to shift up and down gear. I use it for all my racing games that way as well. You can map it under the key and button. Alright. The other one that is steering sensitivity. If you find that your steering is too sensitive, you lower it. But the problem is that if you lower it too low, like put it here like that, you feel that your truck is not pointing to the right direction fast enough. So sometimes in some scenario whereby the turning could be quite sharp and some maneuver could be quite sharp, like in garage kind of thing that you see going in and out of the garage, you probably have to have a little bit of sensitivity higher, but not too high. Otherwise, the moment you feel that you have to autocorrect and the window keep moving left and right, the camera, it doesn't really work that way. Alright. Now, steering non-linearity, I think it's more to the wheel. It doesn't affect too much on the steering. Now, what it really means is that if you put here, your steering will be linear. So the more you put on the one side, there will be like so the speed to get there is linear. But the more you come to this side, if you suddenly flip your wheel on one side, then it's supposed to turn a little bit faster as well. But then the whole correction, the faster you get there, but there's a correction as well. So the experience that for gamepad, I don't really see a lot of difference to it. But I prefer somewhere in the middle. I mean, not too linear, because sometimes I do want to point the truck in the right direction fast. If I do a very sharp turn and so on, but I also don't want to spend too much, it becomes a little bit strange when you try to correct it back. So I put somewhere in the middle, but you may want to lower it if you feel that a little bit too weird for you. Alright, so these two are the one that you could run around the garage and just place accordingly. I've tried a lot of combination. At the end, I think this is something that suits me. Force feedback, not really. I mean, controller. This is a controller. Now I use steering on the left joystick there. So it's on the left joystick here. I use the steering axis. You can click onto it, and after that you can just swing this one and it'll register. I would like to have a dead zone there. Dead zone means that it only register, it moves after I move a bit, a bit on the left or right. So this is the one. All right. So this is the one that you can feel that when do they register kind of thing. So so you can see it quite nicely. So that is I put a little bit dead zone, but acceleration I don't really need that. I can just because I prefer lightly tap on the thing and it works. So that's very nice. And same as for brake as well, because I'm used to playing racing game. I don't really jam brake a lot, so I don't really need a dead zone. But if you feel that things have become so sensitive, then you may want to just have a dead zone there to say it, because sometimes you may want to rest your finger onto the, I don't know, maybe you rest your finger onto it, I don't know. Maybe it's more for wheels, for controller, I don't really need a dead zone on this side. But steering wheel, I do need to, but because I rest my thumb on top of my left joystick, sometimes it may move it accidentally left or right. So I don't want the camera to keep moving a bit. I don't do clutch, so I put NA. Look up and down. Now this is very important. Because when I use controller, I don't have the VR thing on my head to sort of like control the camera. So I use the left and right on the right kind of joystick. So this joystick here is the one that I use turn left and right. But I don't want to look up and down as well, because sometimes if in controller it's very hard to control the absolute horizon kind of movement. Sometimes I accidentally push your head a little bit up and down, but then everything becomes like a chaos when you try to be in the middle of traffic, not to hit anything, and you just want to look left and right. It become like diagonally up and diagonally down, so you don't want that. So I purposely disable this guy, and to disable this one is rather easy. So you just need to override one with another. So you say look up and down using the brake access. After that, you assign the brake access accordingly, and this will become NA because there's no duplication in this game. All right. So and then you do well. I think a hex shifter is more for if you have a wheel, then you can say gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, or which button for which gear. So give you an example. This, I think my truck has like 18 gears. So sequential means that you have to either advance 2 gear up or 3 gear up or 4 gear up kind of thing. You saw me how I drive, but in the event whereby you use a wheel, then you could also have some of this like one button you can shift to a particular gear if so you wish to. All right, so I think that is really all about the whole thing. After that, I found that everything become very smooth, and there also maybe just a little bit more tips for you in terms of the setup wise. I use the let me just go up a bit. All right, so so let me just go up a bit and I'll show you. Okay, so let me just come up here, and I would like to show you the handbrake. So what other button I've used? I use the Y button for auto cruising, because I found that the auto cruising is quite important. You can't really hold your sometimes you can't hold the speed at that exact spot when there's a speed limit. So whenever I hit the speed limit, I press Y in Xbox for auto cruise. B button is how I interact with the when you pump petrol, you press B. When you sometimes when you rest, instead of enter, I use B button to replace the enter. So I find it very neat and useful. As far as the pad here, I don't know how you call it, like the cross here. So I've up button is to see my delivery schedule, like how much time I've left to deliver. Then I have the right button, which is to look at my damage. And the left button is really toggling the various kind of map kind of thing. So I find it useful. So with this left button, up button, and right button, I know all these things. And my down button is to save game. I find it rather useful, but nowadays I play a lot of World of Truck external contract, which I don't save game anyway. I just take it as it is. If I damage the truck, so be it. So, but for those who are playing in story mode, you play all this like solo gameplay, you may want to save the game once in a while. So press down for me to save. Then after that, the two little button here. I don't know what it's called these days. In the past, it's start and something like that. The two little button here, right? So one is the map. I can click and see the map. So sometimes when I drive, I want to see the map, and that's it. In press it again and come back up here. Or the other one is I put escape. So this is just an escape. So after that, I still need to do my keyboard and stuff like that. Then you come back to drive again. I still need to use the keyboard a little bit. So that's what I usually do. And and last but not the least, so this is turning, right? But if I turn left and right, okay, the left joystick I'll swing back to the center, so I can turn like this, and then left joystick I swing back to the center. So it's a lot easier for me to quickly come back to the center. It's very important. I found that. So it's also in the gameplay kind of like menu. You can look up one of the options there. Last but not the least, when I drive, okay, let me just demo to you. I can. Oh, there's a handbrake. So sometimes when I drive and I may go to high gear, like now it's already like, so now it's 11 gear. I stop at the traffic light, for example. Then after that, I want to drop 11 to 0. So instead of pressing down button 11 times, I use the right button here, this one here. I press it and it'll drop to N, which is neutral. So yeah, I mean, I find it really useful. So so one is for me to center the camera. The other one, when I press it, it becomes like go to neutral. So that's all. You still need some kind of like keyboard interaction, but I try to keep those buttons like as minimal as possible. So this is all I have today for the controller, Xbox One controller, and I hope it is useful and to help you start this game, because I think this is a wonderful game. It's just that by default the whole setup is rather odd for the Xbox One controller, at least in my opinion. It's just not smooth enough for me. But well, that's all from me. Till next time we see each other. Happy trucking. Goodbye.